Welcome to another episode of Black Box. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Mbali Mashachane, and to my left we have...
your melanated queen, Sibusiso Kumbata, and I am so excited for today's show.
Today we'll be talking about positivity, owning our bodies. You've probably figured it out. We're talking about a hot girl summer, confidence, owning our space, and today we have a beautiful panel, and they are going to chat to us about what it means to be a hot girl summer.
Ooh, yes. Before we go into the chat of hot girl summer, I want to first know what is a hot girl summer. You know, how do we define a hot girl summer to be? And right before us is hot girl summers. And Lizzie, please enlighten us. What is a hot girl summer?
I think for me, a hot girl summer is about embracing your womanhood, embracing your body. Essentially, it's about being free to do what you want to do as a woman. If you want to hoe, but like hoe and get the bag, you know, understanding that women can hold their own, do their own, and if they want to, they can have a man in their life. If they don't want to, they don't have to. It's just about women being allowed to do whatever they want to do.
Does everyone agree?
Generally, yes.
So what happens if you're in a relationship while you're a hot girl?
Definitely. It's about doing whatever you want, whatever suits you. Do you know what I mean?
I get you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because you're in a relationship doesn't mean you can't put yourself first for once.
True. That is true. It also brings to the fact that, well, I take my energy seriously, you know, like all protecting your space and whatnot, and to me, my happiness comes first, you know. And so, like, why do you think it's important for people to know the hot girl summer message, you know? Like, why is it important to cultivate and embrace joy in your life?
Well, if you don't, you're going to be pretty miserable. I mean, feminine energy is such a real thing. I don't think people understand that. I mean, we have this energy that can easily be tarnished. So we need people to be aware that we have this vibrant energy within us and around us, and we can recharge each other's energy, but we need to all be in a good headspace for that. Yeah. And we don't really want people coming and bashing that and damaging us, trying to work on ourselves for a change. I think this is trying to break away from like the grip of patriarchy and the grip of like media and everything else has on us. And it's us trying to embrace who we are and accept who we are and revive our own energy without like the need of others to influence it.
That is so true. On top of what you were just saying, how do you guys feel about men taking the hot girl summer message? Because it's against patriarchy, yet now they're owning our words.
I think they take quite enough, to be honest. I think it's time for them to just let us be.
But I think they also, I don't know, I don't want to say they're inspired by it, but maybe they're looking up to it as in, I'm not stealing it in terms of patriarchy, trying to like outshine the girls, but it's such a positive, it's such a good movement that they want some of it, but they don't understand that they've taken everything and they're adding to the privilege that they have already.
I don't know. I feel as though body positivity, confidence, doing what you want shouldn't only be prescribed to women alone. I mean, a lot of the times we tend to neglect the fact that men have body positivity issues too. Yes, women have it to a large extent because of the norms that are portrayed in media. But at the same time, when you look at the media and the type of man that's portrayed in the media, it's a hyper-masculine type of man. So what then do we say about men who aren't hyper-masculine? Should they not be confident? Are they not allowed to explore the fact that they too are allowed to, you know, do what they want and get the bag?
I mean, that's very true, and I think men are allowed to do that now. But my objection becomes that can they not use the hot girl summer to their advantage? Like, can they not then find their own movement? Can they not find their own ways instead of appropriating what women have actually taken for themselves? I feel as if they've taken so much from women. Can they just let a movement, a simple hashtag, a simple way of feeling, a simple way of being, just to be to ourselves?
I get you. So like for you, it's sort of like all lives matter
instead of Black Lives Matter.
Okay, I get you.
Also because like women are subjected to a gaze already. Like every day our body is sexualized through a patriarchal gaze, and that gaze is something that a man is not really subjected to and they'll never understand. So hot girl summer is us rejecting that gaze. It's saying you see me as a sexual being, sure, I will be a sexual being in my way. So yeah,
I think it kind of reminds me of that girl who was trending on Twitter when she was like, yeah, I'm a hoe, your mom's a hoe, your dad's a hoe. It's the same vibe. Like, she was literally owning all these labels that are placed on women, and she was saying, yes, I'm going to take it back
and do what I want to do with it, embrace it the way I want to embrace it, without men having to sexualize me or put me down or just objectify me. Saying, I'm gonna take that and do what I want to do with it. I think that's what Hot Girl Summer is trying to like emanate.
Yeah.
But to what extent is it detrimental to the woman, Hot Girl Summer?
I don't.
Because people could misunderstand the concept. In as much as we sat here and we defined it to ourselves, people can understand it as being bougie and being all that. And then they tend to fall into the trap of doing what other girls see as Hot Girl Summer and not living up to it in their own way. So, and then people are going to be, women, are going to be on some, hold this, but they're not that person. Like, they're going to try refigure themselves into what Hot Girl Summer is portrayed as in media instead of actually owning it to best suit them.
I'd like to disagree with you. I don't think the Hot Girl Summer movement is detrimental at all, right? Because you can see a movement and yes, you can be influenced by it. You don't have to. And I get the whole chat that you have that maybe a girl will see Hot Girl Summer and all of a sudden hoe, even though hoeing isn't in her character, but at the same time it's okay for you to do things that are out of character as a woman, because a lot of the time, sometimes a lot of women think that modesty is a part of their character because you've been taught that from a very young age, and it's okay for you to join a movement, try the whole like hoeing thing and be like, actually it's not for me. So I like the movement because it puts that option on the table. It gives you the option to explore what you want to do, as opposed to just being like, no, well, that's not in your character, sit down.
And not Hot Girl Summer is also not just about hoeing.
Like
you could be a nerd hot girl.
You
could be
all
a
about
surfer
your
hot
looks.
girl. You could be a gym hot girl. It's like
You can
hot
earn
girl is
confidence.
literally confidence. That's literally what it is.
Yeah.
Who you are.
So it depends what you attach it to, practically.
Definitely.
So that's our first, yeah?
And also, why do you think people are actually threatened by Hot Girl Summers? Like,
I think it's a very new thing where girls are actually like saying, no, fuck you, I'm gonna do what I wanna do, but I'm not gonna listen to what you say. Because like, if you look in history, men are always the ones telling women what to do you know what I mean? And Shab would like to say like, no, we have rights, we can do this, we can do that, but like it's never actually like happened. So now the fact that it's actually like, we have like this woman who showed up, she's literally like rapping about the same thing men rap about, and she's saying, no girls, like do what you want to do. Like she's doing what men are doing, and now the men are shook because now there's a woman here doing the same thing that their idols are doing, and they're not used to that. You know, they're shocked. They're like, oh damn, she's confident, and she's like, yes, and now she's inspiring other women to do that. Do you know what I mean?
And I think with the whole Hot Girl Summer, it's a confidence thing now. And I always say that if you feel threatened by someone else's confidence, it means that you're not sure of your own confidence. So you're not comfortable in your own being, that if someone else rocks up to challenges you, you feel so threatened by it. So then I think it's a male problem. It's not ours, and it's not ours to define or to help alleviate or solve. They should gather around somewhere and discuss it themselves.
How do you guys feel? How do you guys feel about Hot Girl Summer, like Megan Thee Stallion not using men and sexualizing men in her videos? Because she sexualizes women. They're always twerking. They're always in bikinis. How do you guys feel about her not actually flipping the book and using men as a sexual object?
I don't. I think there's this whole narrative that we like to push about like sexual objectification, and which is very, very valid, right? I think it's different when you're objectified and it's not out of your choice. There's a difference depending on who sits behind the camera, who's sitting down drafting the concepts for the music video. If it's women, if it's essentially driven by a woman for women, and the women who are in the videos are cognizant of the fact that I'm going to be in this music video and this is what I'm doing, and I'm okay with being a sexual being in front of people. I think to a certain extent we need to see women who are sexual publicly, who are openly sexual, because I know a lot of the times women don't get that. For example, like when you're growing up, talking about things like porn, guys are allowed to talk about porn from like age of 13. You find that women only start talking about porn in like university and being comfortable about it, yet jokes have been flying since like primary school for guys watching porn. So I think it's great that you have more women who are hypersexual in front of the camera, letting people know that it's okay to be a woman and be a sexual being at the same time.
I think it adds on to Megan's Hot Girl Summer, because she's saying we're taking that back because men sexualize women.
Yeah.
So now the women are saying, no, we're taking that back and we're actually gonna like, you know, twerk because we want to, not because we are being objectified, not because you are telling us to do that and because we're not comfortable with it, but what we're gonna do. They're doing it because they actually want to and because they actually enjoy it. So they're not being sexualized. They are just being themselves, like they're being sexual beings. Do you know what I mean? Like they're just being confident in their skin and taking that back from the men.
Yeah. So we've actually discovered that Ashton does not really know what a hot girl summer is. So we're going to just do a short education section where we're going to just do like little, like tell her what a hot girl summer is. Everyone will try to tell her what a hot girl summer is. We're going to play the song and just a snippet of it so she knows and she's part of the vibe and part of the family. So, Sibu, explain what's a hot girl summer in like 30 seconds.
Okay. Hot girl summer is all about embracing who you are and also being positive about who you are and not doubting yourself. Hot girl summer is all about flourishing. Hot girl summer is all about unity, uplifting your sister, and like just being together in everything that you do. Hot girl summer, it's all about having fun. Like you come first in everything that you do. Like you come first. I think that's in 30 seconds.
Yeah. To get what a hot girl summer is now. Okay, let's just play the Stallion. So the Stallion finally made the anthem for us.
What you say?
Real ass nigga, give a fuck about a bitch. It is what it is, it's a 5-star bitch. She a big old bitch, it's a must that I hate. It's a hot girl summer, so you know she got a lit. Real ass bitch, know she got a lit. Hot girl summer,
You get the vibe?
know she got a lit.
It's like a summer song, but she got it.
This is really nice.
It's very vibey.
Handle me? Who gon' handle me?
Imagine.
Like,
Did you handle me? No. You thought wrong, okay?
I feel like you can just generate the understanding just from like listening to it. Like,
It's like actually.
Yeah.
it's about... Okay, we got what a hot girl summer is now. Share. I actually feel sad when I listen to this kind of music because I feel like men are so objectified. Like, I just feel like, all the time when I see a boy, I'm just like,
Oh yeah.
go away.
Yeah, it's
What are you gonna say now?
like,
Like,
I was like, what do you mean?
I just always like, bye.
That's the vibe.
bored.
So off what Balisa was saying, it's like evident that when men sexualize women, it seems to be okay. But when women own their bodies and sexualize themselves, like pop culture, media, and our politics really get shook and there is a disconnect. And why is that so?
I don't know. I feel like it's because a lot of the times women haven't been placed in like top positions within the entertainment industry, the media industry, and so it was men who were driving the narrative. And I mean, a lot of the times, well, now you still have men driving the narrative, but a lot more women are coming into the space, and now women are sexualizing themselves, and now men are like, no, because as we all know, well, a lot of the times men are intimidated by women who are powerful, and a woman owning her sexuality and being like, I'm a sexual being, I have sex, I actually get horny, this is what happens to me, all of a sudden it's a problem now because a woman is taking her power. And it goes,
Men feel, I think, stripped of their power when the woman does that because they're so used to like owning everything. You know, especially women, like they feel like we're just objects that they can own and tell what to do. And as soon as we say, nah, I can do what you can do, they get shook.
And
They
the
don't know how
narrative
to
is that
act.
like women must be seen and not heard. That's the narrative, like point blank.
That's why it's just like look pretty and smile. That's it.
So don't you think that actually is generating this rape culture actually? Because we actually need to be seen as submissive, silent beings.
I went to the Imbizo yesterday and that was the conversation mainly around it. And the conversation then was like, okay, so women are supposed to be seen and not heard. And like, where does that come from? Where does that come from? This guy raised his hand and he was on some point of, we need to differentiate between males and men, right? Okay. Men are people who went to initiation school and did all that. And so now he was kind of putting it into one culture, which is like predominantly the Xhosa culture. But then he's saying that when you get there, it's the things that you learn there that make you objectify women up today. So then my retaliation was, you grow up and you meet friends who teach you bad things, and you know what to filter out and what not to filter out.
Exactly.
It's like when you, like from the age of 6 up until like 13, you meet so many people that have such an influence on your life, but you know what to listen to and not what to listen to, and that's why you don't do drugs at this point in life. So when they give the explanation, when they give the chat that this is what we learned, it's a patriarchal thing that happens at home. It's the household where my dad tells me, okay, a woman is supposed to be this, and that. When I go to initiation school, and on the last day when they tell me and they give me this is what I'm supposed to do, then this is how I see women. So I think it's also a culturally based thing. It goes back into our own African traditions in a way. Yes.
But in a way, African culture doesn't really objectify the woman's body, because we're allowed to go in our beads, in our very short skirts, and be free in owning our body. But then where does this thing of male masculinity over the African bodies come from? Because I feel that is a Western idea, because I don't personally think in my culture, when I am in my traditional clothing and I am free, that I'm objectified and oppressed in a sense.
Okay, so I think in terms of our culture, in as much as it doesn't objectify women, to a certain extent it does. When you look at the Redance, when they wear those things, there's always men sitting on the top of the mountain looking at the girls. So in as much as it's their thing of, it's our movement, we're being free in ourselves, there's always men policing and guarding and making sure that things go as it is. So there's always a man at top, even though the women are free and they're doing it, but there's always a man that is watching them and that is allowing for this to happen. So it happens subliminally within our cultures, and they don't say it out loud, and that's the problem with our cultures.
Ooh, we got 30 seconds. Okay. So, Ashlyn, please go to first with your 30 seconds.
Okay, so I get what you're saying with culture, but me growing up in like two different like races and different cultures, I noticed there was a similarity. Like in both of them, I was always taught as a female, like you can't express sexuality too much. You got to try and be modest. You got to try and remain a virgin, because if you don't, no man would want to marry you. Why would a man want to chew, like have a really like chewed piece of gum kind of thing? And I kind of grew up like thinking that, and I was always like, oh no, like I have these sensations and urges, but like I shouldn't, because no man would want me. Like who would want me if I've experienced my sexuality? And I'm just like, I think that's very westernized as well. Like you don't know sex before marriage, like a Christian Western idea that's also just like gone around. So I don't know, I think it's just across all traditions and cultures that like women have just been objectified to a certain extent.
Lizzie?
I'd like to, like based on the whole idea that African cultures don't objectify women, they do. They really do, because when you're a married woman, you can't do certain things in African cultures. You're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that, and I don't really have like examples right now off the top of my head, but it's also the whole thing that when you get married, I think like you have to wear something to like cover your body when you go to your husband's family, and there's just a lot of things that go into that. I mean, for example, for a woman, it's a thing where it's like, oh no, when you, I think with the lot of negotiations in some families, if you're a virgin, like the price goes higher.
Definitely.
So that means that you're placing value on a woman who hasn't had sex, and and because she hasn't had sex, you place thinking, but why don't we have those type of restrictions for men?
Oh man.
And I think the continuation from that African tradition, and then how it feeds into the Western culture, is that they continue it. That's when they don't filter things out. That's when they don't choose to ignore and blatantly be like, no, okay, I'm my head out right now. So then I think that's how it festers into the Western tradition, and that's how it becomes an influence, a widespread of men believing in this whole thing of objectifying women for their own pleasures.
So it seems like we've touched on how the African culture, religion, Western society have created bubbles that box women and oppress them. So now I just want to speak to a South African context where we have our very own hot girl summer, Zodwa Wabantu. But however, we do not see Zodwa Wabantu as a strong feminist statement. We do not support her. We actually do not ululate her as South Africans. We see her as, I don't know, cheap, selling herself, in a way, just to say that. So why, as South Africans, are we not taking our very own hot girl summer and embracing her? Anyone wants to speak to that?
Well, I don't know Zodwa. I don't know a lot about Zodwa. I don't know her too well. I have a vague idea, but everything I've heard about it has always been so negative. So are we as females kind of not then bashing her in the same way men would be bashing us and with the media? So we're all about hot girl summer, but like you said, we're not supporting our own person here at home. And like I said, I don't know her too well, and I don't know all the things she's done, but like I've never ever heard anything good about it come from males or females. So how can we expect other people to like embrace us and embrace ourselves when we can't even embrace another female just because we disagree with certain things?
I think with the way Zodwa does it, right? It's, I don't want to use the word rude, but it's very out there. For instance, it would be so weird seeing someone walking down High Street undressed. Like, it would be like, are you fine? Are you okay? like not like, is everything fine? Do you want to speak? You know. So for me, it's that the way she does it. It's so out there. Also, it's within the context of she uses men for money. Because she started Eyadini, where she used to dance. She used to dance for money. She used to go home for money. Like, she's very open about the things that she does. Né? And for me, it's a morality issue. It's not a modesty thing of how a woman's supposed to be. But personally for me, so this is the reason why I have backlash with her. It's just that she's got this whole thing of, I'm using men for money, I'm using my vagina for money. But I like her confidence in how she does it. She's very unapologetic about it. And that's what I admire about her.
Okay,
but the
30 seconds. Please do it.
I feel like I'd like to disagree with the whole morality chats, because morality is subjective, number one. Number two, I think it's very weird that we're unhappy with women making money with their bodies, because sex work is a job. It is an actual job. It is something that women should be allowed to do because they choose to do it. And we shouldn't really shame women for choosing to do that, for choosing to make money with their bodies.
Okay, you can continue.
What was I gonna say? Sex work is a thing. Yeah, definitely it is a thing. And morality being subjective. It's subjective, but also there's a universal application of it, right? So in as much as a thing can be personal to you, but there's also like an umbrella term for everyone, right? So basically we've got the same feel of morality. It might not be the same thing. You might have your despairing differences, but in an umbrella term, we all agree and abide to one. So when she came out, I think we hadn't been challenged on that front to accept her. So when she decided to do the whole movement thing and just be herself and be within the limelight, we were still very shelved. We were still very in a shell, and we weren't really sure that, should we accept this or not? So it was, I don't know, it broke boundaries or walls that we were not ready to explore at that time, and maybe that's why she wasn't received as much as she should have been.
Yeah. But it also goes on the fact that when people in America do it, like, we easily accept it, but then now when it's here at home, it's like, no, you're not allowed to do it, but then like it's okay when they do it.
Yeah.
I think there's an element of classism to it too, though, because Megan presents as wealthy and very rich, whereas Zodwa Wabantu, when she came onto the scene, she didn't look very rich. When girls are supposed hoes, I don't really know if I like that term that much. But when rich, wealthy girls are hoes, it's fine. It's like, she's a bad, it's great. When someone is wearing like supposedly ratchet shorts and everything, everyone's like, whoa, no,
skanky.
It's like skanky, and like, it's like, that's Mr. Pricey. Exactly that type of narrative, and it's like, no, I don't know. There's a very classist element to it. That's why you celebrate Megan Thee Stallion, but you don't celebrate Zodwa Wabantu.
But Cardi B comes from a different background. She did not come from a wealthy.
But she was shamed.
She was still.
But she was shamed, but she was accepted in her shame.
No, she wasn't. Only later on she got rich.
She was rich.
Then she was accepted.
There was always
when she wasn't.
So it's like, you have to have money in order to be
because I feel like now that Zodwa Wabantu has a reality show, and now that she's on Instagram, and now she's posting about going to surgery, now people are actually following her. Now people repost the things and like, okay, let's do this. So I think it's classism.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think, but like, I don't fully support Zodwa in all aspects, because I don't think like we're one-dimensional beings. I don't know. She made like some weird comments. I'm not really sure what the comments were about, like gay. In as much as we say feminism is supporting all women, feminism should be intersectional. We should realize that you have queer bodies within feminism. like it's not feminist to be anti at least for me. It's very weird. I'm not gonna support a woman purely based on the fact that she's a woman.
Yeah.
Because I should recognize that women have brains, women should think, and I should know that, okay, what she's saying there, I don't agree with it. I'm not gonna agree with you and support you just because you're a woman. You know, like, I'll support you because you're a woman, yes, first and foremost, but if you're a woman and I feel like your views don't align with mine, I'm not obliged to support you.
And from my perspective, because I don't see myself as a feminist. I don't reject the movement, but I don't see myself as a feminist. When she said that statement about gays, and then she later on went to radio and she was like, no, I didn't mean it in that way. We accommodate you gay guys. No, it's fine. For me, it was the red flags I've been seeing about her. Because when she came into the scene, she wasn't doing this for confidence issues, for, okay, I'm here, I'm owning the space. She was doing this because I want to dance, I want to show my dance, and I want to get the guap, and I want to just head out, right?
That's not really true.
Yeah, she had to feed her
like
family.
she came onto the scene to get the bag in a new way. She popularized getting the bag through using her body. Like, she made it clear, like, she was honest about it. She's not educated. She's very honest about that. She's not educated. She comes from nothing. So the only thing she had, and the only thing that men wanted from her, is her body.
Yeah.
She's using
I salute her for that.
Yeah.
I salute her for everything until the point where...
But that statement came
that
out.
statement was like, whoa.
I was going to speak on the point that Palisa made about Hot Girl Summer seeing men as just an entity. Like, they're really not there. They're there, but it's like they're not that much of importance to us. And they now look at Zodwa. Zodwa needs men to make money. So how much of a Hot Girl Summer is she? Because now she's definitely reliant on her. Her business is centered around men. Because the only people that can not buy her, but buy her work or actually appreciate and actually give her the guap for her work is men. So then that fuels men and puts them into the hot girl summer thing, and then it's...
Everyone has a market. At the end of the day, every business has a market, and if a woman is the one who's winning at the end,
she's still a hot girl.
She's still a hot girl, because everyone has a market. It's like, that is my target market. If men are her target market and she's choosing to do it, I stand.
I also respect the fact that she lobolled her husband.
Did she?
She did.
She lobolled her husband. That was a shocking thing to the
roles.
culture. She was like really reversed the roles.
Yeah.
But the uncles were so rude about it. Oh my gosh, because they got filmed on thingy. They were so rude. They were like, we can't accept this. But also again, she lobolled her husband, but they broke up, so it didn't.
But like it was
it
was a culture shift.
Yeah, it was a very huge.
Lobola stopped becoming about the female body and you being submissive. It became now, I don't know.
She was like, I want to marry him, so I'm gonna pay for his lobola.
Yeah.
So,
how do you feel like ancestral transaction? Because now that just changes the narrative. Because lobola is an ancestral thing. So now what happens? Because that's very confusing.
I think this is the problem when you go back home with a hot girl summer mentality. Because now you're not only challenging culture, you're challenging ancestral tradition. You're just challenging their way of life ever since birth. You're coming in with this hot girl and they're like, sorry, what?
What are you saying?
Like, if I come up to my mom with that, oh my gosh, please sit down. She's not even gonna hear anything on that.
Disrespectful.
It's exactly, you being disrespectful. And I think our culture, they see respect as women covering up, as women being submissive, as women being yes. So when you're coming and adding something new to this element, and also I think we bombard our parents and like back home with this thing. Like, we don't try to explain it to them, okay, I think like this, and have conversations like we're having. We just get there and we just show them our being, and there's confronted, because I think we also forget that they also are gonna feel some type of way. They're holding on to their own views. It's like when someone challenges you in a when someone challenges you in a seating, and then you're just holding on to your view because you're like, no, I think I believe this. And it's so difficult to actually be like, okay, I get your point and my view might have been problematic. But when you get home, 1 week of you being a different person, and you're just like, they don't understand me. Like, you just give up on them, and it's always just like, no, it's tradition, no, it's culture. They confine us, they box us, and I feel like it's hypocritical in a way.
I think, though, with that whole thing that you're saying, right, I understand that you need to explain concepts to people, but at the same time, sometimes people are aware that the things they're doing are a problem. For example, are you okay with explaining to a racist who's like, no, this is the way it is because that's how I was raised, and they're like, nah, black people or not, it's are you gonna take the time at every point when you meet them to sit down and be like,
It's true.
this is why racism is wrong. Because sometimes I don't like the whole power dynamic. Power dynamics in any situation kind of mess things up, right? And yes, you can explain things, but sometimes families, I'm like, just because you've been doing it for long, you know, doesn't mean it's okay. We need to challenge it, and I do understand that. Obviously, I understand that we need to be aware of the fact that they were brought up in different times, and you need to be patient with them. But what do we say of girls who've tried to be patient with their parents, and their parents are just like, no, my daughter.
Be a hot girl summer and do what you gotta do.
But then, what cost?
Yeah, exactly.
When it comes to tradition, at what cost?
And also with parents, when you're dealing with parents and you're trying to push this hot girl summer narrative, you can come and be like, no, I'm gonna own my body and I'm gonna wear shorts and this and that. And then your parents are like, no, but I'm paying your fees.
Under my roof.
I fund you. So you're gonna have to like, sometimes you might have to just tone it down and go home. So like maybe here at university, you're like, oh, hot girl summer, like I'm owning my body, it's great. And then when you get home, and they're like, not Apagwam. You're not gonna do it. You know?
You get kicked out.
So then you have to like, it's very hard to navigate. So
it's actually really beautiful. Hot Girl Summer has become a conversation about classism, power dynamics, confidence, owning our body, body positivity. We've redefined the African narrative of seeing an African body. I actually want one last question. Why can't we own the word usfebe?
Yeah.
Why can't we own the word sfebe and we can own bitch, hoe, sluts? What is the difference?
Vernac. Vernac is the difference, honestly. I think the thing is that America has huge influence on everyone, and South Africans take like a lot of like what we do like from Americans. So Americans are the ones who started like holding each other like, hey bitch, hey ho. So we all started saying hey bitch, hey ho. But we're forgetting that Americans only speak English, do you know what I mean? In South Africa, we have literally like so many languages. So I speak Zulu. So let's take Zulu for example. Isfebe. That is very like derogatory. Like if you say it to someone, it's rude. You can't say it in a nice way. Do you know what I mean? Like in African culture, calling someone Isfebe is derogatory, period. Like no one's ever like said it in a nice way. You know what I mean? Like instead of saying like, oh hey ho, you say hey Svebe, like it's rude.
Why can't we shift the boundaries though? Because they've shifted bitch and hoe.
Yeah, bit by bit then, you know?
That's how it started with bitch as well and hoe. It was a very tense term. Like if I called you a bitch, you'd be like, hey.
In primary school kind of.
Yeah, it was a tense thing. It was just like it's fair, you know. And then like as time when people were actually comfortable and you're like, okay, no, actually, let's own the word.
But I think
okay. No.
But I think it's a language thing generally. I think we look down on our own languages. Because you could be a hot girl summer, you come into a space and then you start speaking vernac. It's going to be a weird look on you. If I sat here and I just went on this closer and I just, like, there's something that it takes away from you. I think it's the same thing of Megan Thee Stallion and Zodwa being from Africa and Megan Thee Stallion being from America. It's something is taken away from her. It's the same thing with when you embrace your language and when you embrace another dimension of being a hot girl summer, that it suits you, and if it suits you, it's speaking in closer. It's always that, oh, what is she saying? What? Why? You know? And also under the assumption that we're all familiar with English, so why not speak English? Like, everyone speaks English, you know? So.
We idolize
but I think,
yes,
languages don't exist in isolation. They exist within culture, right?
Yeah.
So the cultural spaces of that language dictate how you use certain words. So you won't use the word sfebe because, let's say, largely in Xhosa Zulu spaces, being a hoe is still largely frowned upon, right? It's hugely frowned upon. Whereas in English and Western cultures, I think it's opening up more, and you're allowed to like explore more so than you are allowed to explore in your Xhosa, Zulu. I can't speak for the other languages because I'm not like, you know, but languages don't exist within isolation, so I think maybe that's a contributing factor. I think it would be cool if we could see a move though and a shift in African cultures and see that we're also taking ownership of certain words that used to be derogatory.
It's going to be a lot of work though, because I feel like African cultures are way more strict than Western cultures. Western cultures easily accept like anything really, especially like say calling someone a bitch or a hoe. Like I remember in primary school it was frowned upon, but only for like a year or two. Then after that, it was like, hey bitch, you know what I mean? Like as your friend. It didn't last very long. It was like, oh, like why are you saying that? It only took like 2 years max for people to be comfortable like about calling each other bitch or hoe. But now if you have to do that in vernac, it's gonna take so much longer because now you have to get through to first of all like you yourself having to unlearn that in your head saying, oh, this is like not derogatory. I'm trying to like own this and actually take it back and make it positive. But now you have to like do that for yourself, do that for the people around you, your like parents and family to accept that. That's gonna be a lot of work. Like African traditions are just very strict about things like that.
Yeah, imagine like saying feather.
Please don't, not to me.
What's beautiful is that what you just highlighted, like this whole chat, that African language is actually not really translatable. Our essence is not translatable, and it's so hard that like our society wants to make Africanism translatable, but our essence lives somewhere else, and we have to tap into that. And I don't know, I haven't found it yet where that actual essence lives.
And we have come to the end of our show, and I would like to thank all our Hot Girl Summers who have joined us today. It has been an absolute informative show and also exciting. And
now we're going to do our killer statement. So what killer statement is that everyone in our panel is going to end the conversation with the conclusion, a line. They must kill us, they must do it. They need to conclude the conversation, and this is going to be what we do every week.
I'm definitely ready for Hot Girl Summer, although I don't think it should stop at summer. I think Hot Girls should be an all year round thing, and best believe I'm embracing that.
As Megan Thee Stallion has said, it's a hot girl summer. Be a hot girl. Do what you want to do. Be confident, study, go out, and drive the boat.
Just be a hot girl. Get money how you want to get money. Be in the relationships you want to be in. Do what you want to do. Don't let society dictate how you should act. And all in all, remember that you are that girl.
Listen, never ever shrink yourself to make others feel comfortable.
I wish all the women in the world to have a hot girl summer, and just know that you are the girl.
It's a confidence thing. Be the best version of yourself. Be a hot girl.